Thank you very much. It's great to be here again. And yes, I'm going to annoy you a little bit with English for the next 15 minutes. I'm going to continue on the topic of data collection in QGIS, this time with Mergin maps. So what challenges and what is Mergin maps? Imagine a forest company that needs to survey and map their forest. With the team, you go out, you take your paper notes, and you start collecting data. Which trees are sick, which are healthy, where are the roads, where are the paths, where are the camping sites, access points, whatever is needed. And then afterwards, in the evening, you become a detective trying to understand what your colleagues written on the paper. You realize that some data might be missing, and then you need to georeference your pictures so that they are on the right spot on the map in QGIS. This process can take anywhere from hours to days, and maybe every month, every year, depending on your needs. With Mergin maps, it's a little bit different. It is a mobile app that allows you to have your QGIS project one-to-one in your phone. This means that you give your teammates just simple phone, and they have your standardized forms with them. So everyone is collecting the same data. It looks the same. Anything from text, dates, numbers, drop-down menus, automated default values, where they are, who they are, and also the pictures which are automatically georeferenced. So you don't have to manually assign them to location afterwards. It's all there in your geo package in QGIS. So following, I have 4 case studies that we did with our users, with our clients, and I would like to present how they manage their challenges, data collection challenges. Starting in England with British Geological Survey, which is one of the world leading independent research institutions. Anything from earth and soil research and surveys are done by them. And so for the 20 years, they were fully on Esri stack, which is not a bad thing. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, they were announced that the ArcGIS was being depreciated, and they had a decision to make how to continue, whether with ArcGIS Pro or they go to open source. And they decided for open source. They decided for QGIS. They've developed their own custom plugin. They had a lot of freedom in the open source world. Their plugin is doing things like creating template project based on their needs, desired background maps, desired forms and fields. But when they wanted to do data collection, they needed to take big Windows tablets that could run QGIS so they can keep collecting data in the field, which was not the best thing to run around with big tablets and when you have to go down and do your research. So they decided to try out Mergin maps, and now they can all work at the same time with just a phone, whether it's Android or iPhone, doesn't matter. And they've set up a lot of constraints to ensure that nobody is forgetting to collect the data. Everything goes to their centralized cloud, and it's synchronized from the field. They can take all of their different background maps with them. So on the left, this is how it looks in the mobile app. They can overlay as many layers as they need. And that's something their surveyors said that it's great. They have access to this different kind of information. Like, for example, on the right, there's a historical map done by their colleagues 100 years ago. And they can access all of this on the phone. Moving from research institution to Belgium, to fast-paced utility network company called Jacobs. And they were tasked to do a national fiber rollout, so to ensure that all Belgians have access to fiber internet. What was needed beforehand was to ensure that the data between where the houses and buildings are physically located and the information of the addresses of these houses, that they needed to match. Unfortunately, they did not match. So they needed to do house-to-house survey and correct this data before they could do any kind of fiber rollout. The bigger problem was that their existing data collection software, which was on-demand, tailored just for them, was not scalable. If they needed to add a new layer, if they needed to add a new question in the field, they had to ask the developer, needed to wait, needed to pay, and it just couldn't work on this scale. So, as you can imagine, they went for QGIS and Mergin maps, and the important difference for them was that they had relation between the data on the physical houses and relation between the address information. And the surveyors didn't just go to the house, mark the difference, and change it in the office. They could do it right there on the street. At all times, there were about 20 surveyors correcting this data, and they could synchronize the data through cloud live to the office. So they didn't have to go back and forth between the office and the field. The office team could see and make decisions right away based on their data. Also, they mentioned that it was very important to have version control and history for archiving and audit reasons. So from the commercial utility coming to government-owned Portugal company called EDIA, who are taking care of this beautiful dam, of this beautiful reservoir in Portugal. It's not as big as Balaton, but still. And they are responsible for distributing water to farmers, industries, and common human consumption. And every year, they need to do a survey on at least 10% of their consumers. They need to report that there are no chemicals in the water, that it is being used the way that it is supposed to be used. And they need to report this to the government, to EU, and similar bodies so that all the law and policies are being fulfilled. The problem was that their current setup was not reliable offline. As a lot of the farms and industries were in remote areas, they couldn't get surveyed data synchronized properly when they were losing internet back and forth. So, as you probably can imagine, since I'm talking about them, they chose QGIS and Mergin maps. And this allowed them to have reliable offline data collection, because with Mergin maps, you first collect the data locally on your device, on your phone, and only for the synchronization, you need actually the internet. So they synchronized in the evening once they finished the survey and sent the data back. The other important thing they mentioned was the on-premise deployment. So they had their own Mergin maps ecosystem on their own server, on their own infrastructure, which was also one of the legal requirements so that the data doesn't leave the country. And the last thing they mentioned was that their surveyors, they are experts in water management and similar topics, but they are not GIS savvy people. They are not, they didn't study it and they didn't have to. So it was important for them to have the app as simple as possible, because they had like 100 questions in one form, all the way from social questions, water questions, and et cetera, So it needed to be quick and efficient, and they could synchronize data with just one button. And then last but not least, we're coming to Kazakhstan, the beautiful city of Almaty. And this is activists and citizens fighting against greedy or illegal urbanization, because in their nature and the vicinity of the city, there are one of the oldest wild apple tree forests, which are sadly being destroyed because of this illegal urbanization. And so the local activists needed a way to map and track these illegal buildings and report them, create these legal complaints. The problem was that it took them about at least 3 days to put all the data together and to create some kind of legal document that could be used with local authorities. And besides QGIS and Mergin maps, they also added a one niche thing, and what it would be in 2026 if there wasn't AI implemented. So what I did was that once they synchronize the data, it goes to QGIS, but it also goes to a local Gemini, which was or is trained on the law for urbanization and nature protection of Kazakhstan. So it automatically compares the data collected with this law, and if it evaluated that it was broken or invaded, it created a PDF report right away that can be used. It took them like about 30 minutes to get the report. If it was validated or invalid, then it was red on the map, and they could download the report and go about it. If it was okay, it was blue or green. So why these 4 case studies? Was it because we don't have any more? No. I chose this because I wanted to showcase that Mergin maps is not only for one specific industry or only for small teams. It can be really tailored and adjusted to any industry, all the way from forestry to citizen science, government, to commercial purposes. And that open source stack is ready for any use. With this setup, you can minimize the data processing to minimum. You have your photos georeferenced. You can collect offline data, collect data offline. And to put it in QGIS, you don't need cables. You don't need to send your files via email or WhatsApp or USB stick. It's all handled online by our backend. And to finish it up with a little cherry on top, with a little announcement, over the summer, we're going to be releasing a new feature or product that enables you to share your QGIS maps, your QGIS projects online via web. This means that you can generate URL link, send it to your team members, to your clients, to your shareholders, and they can open it up without QGIS, without Mergin maps, and just see live data. It's synchronized for them so they can stay up to date and track your progress. So how can Mergin maps benefit your team? Thank you.